Hello, hello, hello. Justin Brock here. And today I'm going to start a series called Gamify Your Life. And the purpose of this, and sorry for my haggard appearance, I haven't showered today, I've been in the gym. But the purpose of this live is to go in this series, is to discuss some of the things that I have been through in my pursuit of happiness, my pursuit of success, happiness, philosophy, whatever you want to call it, right? And I'm going to start doing these pretty regularly because I hope that it helps someone. And even if it doesn't, it makes me happy to put the info out there. Okay. Looking at it kind of like a journal for me, but just wanted to talk about a couple of things. If you know anything about me, you know that I sold part of my company earlier this year. And throughout my progression in life, I have, always been trying to figure out and focus on what makes me happy or the pursuit of some sort of goal. And in this, I'm going to talk about how I've gotten a lot of things wrong and I've gotten some things right. But as I continue to accomplish things or struggle with things, I figure out what is important more and more each day to me. Okay. And look at that sweaty head. But in this process, post sale, I went through some goals that I wanted to reset for myself and recalibrate. And one of those was fitness. And in the fitness side, there's this concept called progressive overload. They're always trying to get you to progressively overload your muscles and what your body is going through so that you can continue to get better and better gains or better and better results, right? You have to progressively overload. If you just continue to do what your body gets used to, your body won't evolve because you're not progressively overloading it. And I started thinking about this concept of progressive overload as it relates to your life and the pursuit of happiness for you. And so I want to just kind of give you guys a paraphrase of what I've been through at this point and what I hope to impart here today. So the series is going to be called Gamify Your Life. And, starting out, I'm going to talk about how I got it wrong. And so I'm going to go back and talk about a couple of things. One, I recently finished a book, which I'll be releasing soon, called Purpose After Service. Service meaning service to the country in the military. But the truth is, service to our country, while I was serving the country in the Marine Corps, I had a feeling of bewilderment when it came to identifying my purpose. I wasn't truly feeling some sort of big sense of purpose in that endeavor. When I went to Parris Island and graduated boot camp, I had a pretty good feeling of accomplishment, but it quickly faded in that I didn't really find the sense of accomplishment or the autonomy that gave me this kind of like pursue your dreams, pursue your goals mentality in the Marine Corps. And so, I did find definitely that I had, things that happened. Like I had a wife that I loved. I began to have children while I was in the Marine Corps. And so I did have goals and purpose related to them. But in fact, having them just kind of further highlighted the lack of direction that I had in my own brain of like, how am I going to truly provide for this family and be someone that they admire and and are proud of, right? And so, and it's funny because I initially joined the Marine Corps as part of this check the boxes sense of purpose, and it just didn't live up to that for me. And this is nothing against the Marine Corps. I learned a ton in the Marine Corps. I learned several things. I learned the value of a good coat of paint. I learned the value of showing up and being held accountable. I learned the value of looking sharp, which I don't look right now. All those different things, right? And so after the Marine Corps, I chose, I did re-enlist when my son was born because I still had this like sense of, oh my gosh, how am I going to take care of this? But re-enlisted, so I did 8 years. And when I got out of the Marine Corps, I chose to pursue a career in insurance sales because I'd seen my father climb from poverty to middle class selling insurance on his own pen. And if you're not in insurance, own his own pen just means, he was writing it door to door, calling people out of the phone book, that sort of thing. When my grandfather died, he inherited a little bit of money. My grandfather wasn't rich, but he had a little bit of money that his kids split up. And my dad invested that money into a Christian TV station called TV 53 in advertising, which got him a consistent flow of clients and kind of got him off of having to go out and grind as much. He was still going house to house, but they were calling him and inviting him to their house. So it definitely changed things. But he failed to scale past that point. He kind of got to that point where it was like, oh, I'm getting 20, 30 clients a week, some weeks, 10, 15 other weeks, and that is enough. And you can earn a great living doing that, right? And so so he definitely did that. But me seeing that happen gave me the sense of like, well, if he can do that, then I should be able to go out and make $60,000 a year, which is what I thought I needed to make to feed my family. I also had a little bit of a goal of impressing, him. I had that, desire to impress your dad type of thing. That's faded over time, but back then I did. So I would go out, and those two goals drove me through that grueling and humiliating process of driving door to door in the fully unloaded Toyota Corolla. I had learned the importance, like I said earlier, of having that good haircut, looking sharp, all that kind of stuff. And so because of that, I was able to get into houses, and I was able to do pretty well. Got pretty quickly, I was able to get 10 sales a week. But that success, it made me, for probably the first time since graduating boot camp careers, I don't feel like a sense of accomplishment. Like I had, done something, and that now I had the control to increase that or scale that success in some way. I didn't even know the word scale back then. I mean, scale to me was something you stood on to check your weight. I was not a business guy. I didn't grow up as a teenager thinking I'm going to be an entrepreneur. It was just that sales and showing up and people trusting me and buying from me and liking me gave me confidence that I could do more. And so I started taking online courses in marketing. I started listening to podcasts like the Art of Paid Traffic, productivity podcast. Back then, there was a guy I'm still friends with now named Jeff Root that had a digital life insurance podcast. So I started listening to a lot of things online and learning. And pretty quickly, in the grand scheme of things, I was able to figure out how to use Facebook ads to get it to where people were calling me and wanting my help. And then I wasn't having to go to people's houses and do things that way anymore. People were seeking me out for help. And when that happened, some of the people that were working closely around me or not with me necessarily, but close to where I was and who knew me, actually got really confused at how I was able to make that happen and how I was writing so many policies, and even started to accuse me of a nefarious activity or things, which just happens when you're able to figure out something that other people can't figure out. They assume that you must be doing something, nefarious. Unfortunately, we weren't. So now I wanted to increase that sales activity a little bit. So I hired people like my first cousin, Will, who's still with us today, childhood friends like Steven. I hired my brother at times. And oddly enough, for me, that actually worked more than it didn't. I don't necessarily recommend hiring in that way now, but it worked for me as that initial core, served as the first group. And several of those are still around today. Actually, all the ones I mentioned are still with me, or we still work closely together. So this soon got really easy. So I didn't really understand the full concept of scaling this. Like I said earlier, I still thought scale was something you stood on to weigh yourself. I didn't understand this scaling a business or scaling a sales team or any of that kind of stuff. And so I didn't scale it. I actually started reading Russell Brunson's Expert Secrets and Gary Vaynerchuk's book, Crush It. And the advice in those, was relative to hey, when you learn how to do something, teach other people how to do it. and document it and talk about it. And I wasn't necessarily thinking about charging anybody anything. I was just thinking about how can I help. And so at first I started participating in online forums and Facebook groups, not to a specific niche, because the Medicare and health insurance niche is where I started. And I wasn't, there weren't communities dedicated to just that really online. So I started communicating with more broad insurance financial services communities. Several of them kicked me out. Eventually, I learned group and forum etiquette and how to not do that, and became an expert in these groups. And one day, this guy who had a pretty thriving at the time life insurance group told me I should start a Medicare community, and I said, why don't I start one? And so I did start one, and that online community really, really grew. Part of it grew because I was reading again about how to create an online community and make it grow. Back then, it was all about jogging the algorithm so that you could get other people to participate. And in that group at the time, or in the documents that I was reading, it said you had to post 3 different posts a day minimum in the group. And so I was doing that. I was trying to get it going, and it did get going. Now there's over 15,000 agents in that community. Many of them followed us on Facebook pages, YouTube, subscribed to us on YouTube. Now we're up to like 35,000 YouTube subscribers. And other things happened. We started getting LinkedIn followers, and then we turned that following into the largest annual agent focused conference in our niche. We built a software as a service product that serves that community, and we developed our agency into a field marketing organization, or FMO, which is like a recruiting organization that serves agents in a way that just didn't exist prior to that shift in the industry we started. We do more annual workshops, incentive trips, and all these different things for the community, our community, proportionally than some of the oldest, largest organizations in our niche. So we stream 5 meetings a week to thousands of agents. We're constantly promoting products for insurance carriers and talking and sharing just like raw information, because this is information that we've actually used in agencies we built. So anyway, not to beat a dead horse on that, but basically we turned that community into another side of our business, rounded our business out into both an agent focused and a consumer focused side that work really well together, because we were able to test and incubate ideas in the consumer focused side and then use them to help our agent partners replicate the same success, right? And so that's became a huge thing. Our internal team started to grow really rapidly. We started, growing both our external team, our external agent partners. We were growing our customer book, and then our internal employees, our W-2 employees, started to grow really rapidly. It became very rewarding for me to see them win, them evolve. It's also tough because sometimes you have people that you wanted the best for, but just couldn't get out of their own way, and you had to cut those people. But to see the team flourish was a great reward. It started to become the best reward, even though my income was growing at levels I'd never even understood were possible before. You're making so much money. It was crazy, but it was also very, very rewarding. So then I sold earlier this year, and I know we just fast forward through this, but a decade in, I sold 51% of that company for a sizable amount. And I immediately had this feeling I had not felt since probably graduating Paris Island. And it was where I felt both accomplished and a little bit of a now what, or a what now state. I still own 49% in one hand, but in another, my purpose seemed shattered. I could still grow that company exponentially, and will, but I had this feeling of graduating to a new level of achievement without a clear direction of where to go, this progressive overload concept. So I hope you get where I'm going here. I'm trying to bring you through just some of these ups and downs of, hey, now we've accomplished this, let's try this. Now we've accomplished this, let's try this. And so, where do you go at some point, right? And that led me, recently to write the book, Purpose After Service, to start an intense health journey. I'm down 26 pounds. I still look like I could grow some more, and I'm working on it. But I'm down 26 pounds. I'm on an intense health journey, and then I wanted to start some sort of series where I'm actually helping people with more than just the niche of Medicare and health insurance. Of course, we're going to continue to do that. So I want to make a few things clear here as I'm talking about this, and we get more into the weeds in upcoming, episodes or videos I make. But BBI, Bobby Brock Insurance, Go Guru, all of that part of the organization that I remain 49% owner in, all that we stand for is still without a doubt a primary focus of mine. I'm heavily financially invested in its success, but also it is my creation. I want to make sure it grows. It is also without a doubt the best opportunity for new, intermediate, or even experienced insurance agent and agency owners to grow and scale their business. The workshops, the processes, and the software we extend are all one of a kind, and no other recruiting entity in insurance can adequately compete with its value proposition. I truly believe that. And so I'm still at the forefront. So if you're an insurance agent, we still want you to work with us, and we're still going to grow you. And I'm still very committed to that. So this is not about like shifting my focus completely. It's just maybe an outlet for me to hopefully help more people and develop content that maybe resonates with some of them. I do not want you to take this as life is a game. So when I say gamify your life, I'm not saying life is a game necessarily. So if you think it is, that's fine. But if you're offended by the idea that life is a game, just know that that's not what I'm saying. The overarching sentiment here will be that the pursuit of happiness requires massive action and constant correction. As your horizon comes into view, you have to expand your ability to see. Progress is necessary for happiness. I truly believe that. Progress is necessary for happiness. There are points that you'll get to where it's hard to figure out what progress looks like. Whether you are spiritually focused, success focused, monetarily intrigued, hobby centric, family first, etc., you have to be progressing. Whatever goal you're pursuing now, if you succeed or when you succeed, you'll have this feeling of now what? That's what gamifying your life is about. Macros, number of pages in philosophical scripture consumed daily, fitness streaks, streak of writing daily affirmations, daily water intake, revenue goals, both net and gross, number of employees hired, employee satisfaction rating, marketing cost per acquisition, daily content creation goals. All of these and more are key performance indicators that you have to progressively overload your routine with. There are others. Family time, screen time going down, dog walks, step count, heart rate, sleep score, pounds lost, progress on a musical instrument, languages learned, lessons taken in street, countries traveled to, states traveled to. Figure out what's important today and gamify. And there's no time to wait until you're pursuing a goal. You have to always be pursuing a goal. If a goal is not practical for you right now, find a goal that is on the edge of reasonable and get you towards that next one so that you can accomplish this one and move on to the next one. So basically what I'm saying is if the goal that you're thinking of is just like you can't get there because there's some sort of large barrier to even start it, then get another goal that gets that barrier out of the way. Make that goal primary until you get to that next level. And the third thing I wanted to make sure that you guys understand here is if I'm not speaking to you, do not listen. If this doesn't resonate, that's not what it's for. I have money. I'm not trying to, make money necessarily here. I'm trying to, if this content fuels our other businesses, that's wonderful. But otherwise, like my goal here is to find purpose for myself in helping other people through issues that I've gone through. So if I'm not speaking to you, don't listen. It's okay. If you hear this and you don't agree, that's okay. Content is abundant these days. If you must consume content that speaks to you, whatever that is, wherever you're at. I don't care how many people go live on here. I will do my best to retake this content and share it in different areas. But my parting thoughts for today are get a goal. If you don't know what that goal is, the first goal can be the goal of finding a goal. So my point is get a goal, be progressing towards something. Happiness is about progress. Happiness is not sitting on a beach. Happiness is not gluttony. Happiness is not sloth. Happiness is focusing on a goal. And then as the horizon comes into focus, expand it, rehash that goal, make it bigger, make it grander, make it more specific, make it broader, or go out and find a whole different goal to go after. So that's what I'm doing here. My goal is to get more broad and help people with more concepts outside of the niches that I've helped them with so far. So hopefully that will speak to some of you guys, and hopefully you can find some level of gratification in finding someone like me who might be on a similar path to you, maybe a little bit ahead, maybe a little bit behind, and you can impart some wisdom on me. Hey, but I do want to thank you guys for watching today, and I will be posting more and more frequently in this format. So if you have questions, concerns, issues, hurdles, struggles, please send them to me. You can email me at info@justinbrock.com, or you can always DM me on Instagram @thejustinbrock. Thank you guys for watching today. Truly appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon.